In today's world, it's really important that you use 2FA whenever you can. In other words, don't just rely on a password to keep your information secure. Use something in addition to your password. Various options. Most basic is to use SMS 2FA. So in other words, when you log into a website, the company will send you an SMS and you have to enter a code that you received through an SMS on their website. So in other words, you use a password to be authenticated and then use a second method to authenticate. So two-factor authentication is used. SMS is better than nothing, but it is susceptible to some swapping. Hackers often do this where they can compromise accounts and take over accounts because people are using SMS-based 2FA. So don't make the mistake of only using a password. 2FA using SMS is better than no 2FA, but even better than that, use something like Google Authenticator. So rather use Google Authenticator whenever you can rather than SMS-based 2FA. Worst scenario is just passwords. Better than that is SMS. Better than that is to use an application like Google Authenticator. There are others out there. Google Authenticator is just well known. But even better than that is to use a device like this, a YubiKey, a hardware-based token. One of the advantages of using this is a code cannot be stolen. So SMS-based 2FA codes can be stolen. The problem with Google Authenticator is people can be tricked into reading the code and giving the code to a hacker. The advantage of using a YubiKey or other examples like a Google Titan key is that it stops human error. Human error is the number one cause of breaches due to phishing. Users cannot be tricked into giving 2FA codes to an attacker. Here you can either use a fingerprint or a code. So if you do lose this, people can't use this to pretend to be you. Use one of these if you can, but otherwise use Google Authenticator. But please implement 2FA across all websites wherever you can. Unfortunately, some websites still require SMS and don't have other options. It's better than nothing. Best option is a YubiKey or Google Titan or other hardware security keys, then 2FA using something like Google Authenticator, then SMS, and please never use a website with just a password because passwords get leaked. Troy Hunt has this amazing website, Have I Been Pwned? And as you can see here, almost 15 billion accounts have been pwned. The passwords that you've used in the past are likely out there. So make sure that you don't just rely on a password, but also rely on something really strong like a security key. An even better option today is to use passkeys. So you could use one of these for that where there is no password involved. You are simply authenticated using a device like this. Much better than using passwords. But if you still want to use a password, then use this as your 2FA or two-factor authentication.